The Lakers get a huge double overtime win over the Warriors in the Bay Area in what will be regarded as an instant classic, and LeBron turns back the clock big time. How did it all go down? Tell you that next.
You are Locked On Lakers, your daily Los Angeles Lakers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And thanks for making Locked On Lakers your first listen every day, Monday through Friday, wherever you get your podcasts, sometimes on weekends. Either way, always free, never behind a paywall. Locked On Lakers on YouTube is where you can go to hang out with almost 23,000 subscribers, really active part of a YouTube community that I imagine was absolutely riveted and thrilled and extremely entertained by this 145-144 double overtime win by the Lakers in the Bay Area against the Warriors. This game had so much of everything. We're going to end up breaking it down more for Monday's show. When Brian's back, he was unavailable for tonight's show. I was actually doing the post-game show for 710 ESPN, the Lakers radio partner, but just had to bring you all something from this because it was just incredible. To quote Martin Scorsese, this is cinema. And what I kept thinking about, especially once the game ended, even during it, but especially once it was over, is that I was so damn glad the Lakers won this game. Not just because I want the Lakers to win this game, because I want them to win every game. And right now it's extremely important that they win all their games. This was the first of a 6-game road trip for the Lakers. This 6-game roadie also basically ends right before the trade deadline. So it's going to be really critical, I think, in determining what the Lakers decide to do or not do at the deadline. If they think this season is salvageable, what it will take to make that happen. The implications for this game were just through the roof. And, the Lakers now 24-23. They are showing a lot of signs, regardless of the result, of looking like a better team. But we've reached a place now where, there haven't been moral victories for a long time, but there are truly no moral victories now. You need to stack some W's immediately. So the idea that this game potentially losing, to put in perspective, Steph Curry had 46 points. He was 17 of 35 from the field, 9 of 21 from behind the arc. He was very often a killer. And for a lot of this game, until Klay Thompson started heating up some, Andrew Wiggins started heating up some, Steph was keeping the Warriors in this game. And if they truly are going to try to make anything happen for their season, they needed this win even more than the Lakers. Steph's 46 in a lot of ways is going to be an afterthought. And that's something I didn't want for this game for the Lakers, because there was so much incredible to talk about with it. So many different storylines, whether you were talking about, for example, and this I'm sure would be considered the headline, LeBron James, 36 points on 14 of 25 shooting, 2 of 4 from the field, 6 of 6 at the line, 20 rebounds, a career high for LeBron, 20 rebounds, 12 assists against just 3 turnovers. LeBron is the first Laker to record a 30-20-10 triple-double since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 1976. That's almost 50 years for those doing the math at home. Just absolutely spectacular performance from LeBron. This was a game where he was clearly engaged and looking to win, juiced by the marquee matchup, it being a nationally televised game. Him and Steph going at it, 2 guys that I think have been at times pretty big rivals, but now have reached a point of very sincere and affectionate respect for each other and just knowing how much each other has changed the game. This was an absolutely vintage performance from LeBron, who just I don't want to say, get into the cliches of don't take this for granted, because I don't think LeBron really is taken for granted in a lot of ways. I think his greatness has been very well documented and appreciated and discussed and all of that. But seeing what he did tonight, playing 48 minutes at age 39 in season 21, and all the different ways that he really controlled this game as an offensive just chess player and puppet master. It was just incredible to watch. And again, I would hate the idea of that getting lost in the Lakers ending up not coming through in this game. The Lakers had been up 5 at the half, and the third quarter got off to an absolute disaster. They opened the third with Golden State going on about a 24-5 run in around 5 minutes. So the Lakers went from up 5 at the half to down double digits. And then right around that time, Anthony Davis ends up taking a knee from Draymond Green. There was nothing dirty about it, nothing intentional from Draymond. I know immediately when you hear Draymond, you think, what did he do this time? But I understand. But this was just inadvertent, and it looked in the beginning like a knee to the groin, but then he was clearly having trouble walking, AD, and walked really, really slow and visibly uncomfortable towards the tunnel and then to the locker room. And you're thinking, oh, the Lakers are going to lose this game and maybe lose AD for the foreseeable future. Anthony Davis ends up coming back into this game, plays more or less the entire game from when he returns, clocked 45 minutes in this game, 29 points, 11 of 24 from the field, 7 of 9 at the line, 13 rebounds, 3 on the offensive glass, 3 assists, 4 blocks. And this is the type of thing that we've seen this year from Anthony Davis that has felt different. Anthony Davis being available on a game in, game out basis. You know, just the durability this season, even with, you know, the hip and the groin issue and this thing that's been going on all season. It has at times taken AD out of a game, or at times he's struggled to get through it, but he has not missed time this season, barely at all. And he has, on more than a few occasions this year, fought through discomfort, fought through things that maybe in the past would have kept him out of games, maybe not. I don't know. But seeing AD really gut this thing out, often matched up against Steph on an island. Like, you know, Steph was actually looking for that matchup because I think he's thinking AD is clearly not himself physically. So, you know, I can maybe look to take advantage of that. And AD just looking to gut through everything was just extremely impressive. D'Angelo Russell got off to an absolutely brutal start in this game. Ends up finishing with 28 points on 7 of 19 shooting, which obviously doesn't seem all that impressive until you look at the second half of the game. D'Lo had 16 points, 5 of 8 from the field, 3 of 4 from behind the arc. In overtime, D'Lo, there was a sequence where he had 3 turnovers in a row in double overtime, but then in transition, pulled up for 3, hits this thing. I mean, this was a monster huevos moment, as I would call it. This was a testicular fortitude moment from D'Lo, who, like I said, for like the past minute had just been turning the ball over. Golden State, at least 2 of those possessions, I believe, did score off those D'Lo turnovers. It took some huevos for him to put up that shot. And it was just another game where we've seen this heater that D'Lo has been on. And this was really impressive because it started out really, really rough for D'Angelo Russell. His first half numbers, 1 of 7 from the field, missed both of his threes, did have 4 assists, but 4 points. It was looking like maybe a game where D'Lo just wasn't going to have it. And he ended up coming through. And again, another thing I would not want to see lost in all the narratives from this, because people are disappointed that the Lakers ended up losing this game. And then finally, and this is something we'll talk about more for Monday's show, but the lineup of D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reaves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, that was the playoff lineup from last year that has played inexplicably very, very little this year, even taking into account the time that Jared Vanderbilt missed, the opening 20 games of the season, and, other guys occasionally being in and out of the lineup. Not even the idea that it isn't starting that group of D'Lo, Reaves, Vando, AD, LeBron. Like, the idea that you're going with Torian as the fifth instead of Vando, it's not what I would do. I've made it very clear that it's not what I would do. But it's one thing not to start that group. It's a very different thing not to play it. And this was actually something that I asked Darvin directly about before Thursday's win over the Bulls. I just asked Darvin, I know this is something Brian and Jacob Rude talked about for Friday's show, just, is there a specific reason that you haven't gone with this group more? Like something that you saw in the playoffs last year, or you just thought it over and you think there are vulnerabilities, just a reason. And Darvin really didn't offer one, but then he ended up closing out the half against Chicago with that group. And then tonight, he closed out the half again, but then from about halfway through the fourth quarter, through both double overtimes up until like the final Lakers possession where Torian went in for Vando, it was that group. And it felt like the equivalent of what Golden State landed on with their death lineup at the beginning of the championship runs that they had, where they, it's a little bit different because they went smaller, obviously, than this group with Anthony Davis and LeBron in there. But just the idea of the group that they want to use when they just want to look to either protect the lead or just choke the life out of a team. I'm starting to wonder, if nothing else, maybe Darvin doesn't change the starting lineup, but he's growing more comfortable or recognize the necessity of using that five, because I think that is the best five for this team. So I'm hoping that this is something new for Darvin moving forward, because I think it's been too long that we've gone without it really even seeing it. Like the past two games, or maybe even just tonight against Golden State, it's probably as many minutes as we had seen from that group the rest of the season combined. So that in and of itself is really interesting. We'll see where everything progresses. Again, the Lakers with a 145-144 win over the Warriors, double overtime, absolute thriller. We are going to break down more of this, obviously, for Monday's show, look ahead to the rest of the roadies, stuff like that. But again, I just could not have had you guys go this long without at least some thoughts from this game, because it was absolutely incredible. Before we go, I want to make sure that everybody knows that Locked on Lakers is brought to you by FanDuel, and the NFL season. We've got a little bit more remaining in the playoffs before we get to the big game, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, and the app is so easy to use. So many different ways to play, like live same-game parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. Make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find popular parlays, and obviously there are NBA options as well. You can bet individual games for the Lakers, or whether or not Anthony Davis will win MVP, whether or not the Lakers can win the title, Austin Reaves for Sixth Man of the Year, so on and so forth. So again, visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. Locked on Lakers is also brought to you by PrizePicks, the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. Instead of battling thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and just watch the winnings roll in at 25 times your money. And with basketball season and football season coinciding, you can pick combo projections from across football and basketball with the Specials League, created specifically for projections that include 2 or more players from different leagues or sports. For example, LeBron James, Travis Kelce, 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made and receptions. With the PrizePicks reboot policy, your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured for NFL games, NBA games. If you have A player who exits the game in the first half doesn't return in the second. That player gets rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with injury insurance. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. Use that code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100 against prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. We will see everybody on Monday. Again, awesome game. Awesome win for the Lakers. Hope everybody enjoys the rest of their weekends, and we'll talk to you soon.